On a late-night bus, a scantily dressed girl followed me off at my stop.
Where are you going?
As fate would have it, a few days later I ran into the same girl on the street at night. She was still wearing the same outfit, which told me she probably hadn't been home since. She looked exhausted and lonely. This time, she didn't give me any trouble. She just asked if I could spare $10 because she was hungry. Something in me softened. Instead of giving her money, I brought her back to my place. It was a tiny studio apartment, cramped and bare. The only couch doubled as my only bed. I got her a glass of orange juice and a sandwich. I didn't answer. I've always been a mystery, with a sadness hidden behind my eyes that no one seems able to reach. I work as a substitute teacher. I never stay at one school for long. I just move from place to place. That explains why my room is so bare. As a substitute, I only rent short-term near whatever school I'm at. The school I was assigned to this time was the worst in the state. I heard the students were rough. On my first day, I nearly got punched. When I walked into my new classroom and introduced myself, some kid immediately started cursing at me. I sent him straight out the door. Then I told the students to take out a piece of paper. They complained, but I ignored them. It was When I got home, I found Erica, the girl I'd taken in, sitting on the couch with an irritated look on her face. The first thing she asked was where I'd been. She had planned to surprise me. She'd made a candlelit dinner and waited for me to come home so we could eat together. But after waiting for hours, the food had gone cold. She asked who I'd had dinner with, a man or a woman. She was obviously jealous. But I steeled myself and restated my boundaries. You can stay here, but don't expect anything from me. After delivering that little keep your distance speech, I noticed the dinner she'd worked so hard on. My heart softened, and I quietly thanked her. The next morning, Erica made me breakfast again, fluttering around me adorably. I thought she was just repaying my kindness. What I didn't realize was that when a woman goes out of her way to be good to you, it means she's fallen for you. I needed to visit him often. One day, Erica got a call from the nursing home saying my grandfather's condition was critical. She rushed over to stay with him. By the time I arrived, he was already delirious. He mistook me for his daughter, mumbling apologies to her over and over. It triggered painful memories. A blood-tinged past flooded back, filling me with unease. My mother killed herself when I was young. I grew up angry and in pain. As I got older, I pieced together the truth. My grandfather had beaten my mother for years. Living under that shadow every day was what drove her to take her own life. And now, on his deathbed, my grandfather was murmuring his regrets. Despite everything, I decided to let him go in peace. Speaking as if I were my mother, I offered him forgiveness. That day, I opened up to Erica for the first time. The years when my mother was still with me were the happiest of my life. I still remember her telling me to lock my door tight. She said it was to protect her. And the red glow in my memory, that was the nightmare seeping through the crack when I hadn't closed my door all the way. That lifelong nightmare is what made me shut myself off. I refused to form connections with anyone. I was afraid of intimacy, afraid of responsibility. Most of all, I was afraid of hurting someone else. But life had other plans. A few days later, Erin confessed her feelings to me. As a teacher, I've had students confess their feelings for me before, but it's always been my worst nightmare. When Erin threw her arms around me, I had no choice but to push her away. I could tell that beneath the surface of her confession, the teacher turned on me immediately. "Are you harassing your students?" Her accusation sent me over the edge. I exploded in my own defense. My rage erupted like a volcano. I smashed desks and screamed at the top of my lungs. Why did I lose control like that? Because the deepest wound in my life was what my grandfather had done to my mother. I'd spent my whole life pushing people away precisely because I refused to become like him, someone who hurts the people closest to him in the name of love. A few days later, the hospital called. Erica's blood test results had come back, and they needed to speak with me immediately. From the urgency in their voice, I could guess the truth. They'd found HIV in her blood. I submitted my resignation to the school. On my last day, I announced the news to my class. Everyone was devastated. Even that troublemaker who'd given me the hardest time showed a rare moment of emotion, telling me he didn't want me to go.
I'm gonna miss you, man. I fucks with you. Yeah. All the other teachers in this place, they're dickheads.
After class, I spotted Erin in the school courtyard, dressed entirely in black. She up and had baked dozens of little cupcakes to hand out to passing students and teachers. She was polite, but distant with me. I noticed a black cupcake sitting in front of her, and she looked heartbroken. I asked for that one, but she said it was for herself and handed me one decorated with a smiley face instead. I tried to apologize, but she didn't want to hear it. Not long after I walked away, she ate that black cupcake. She laced it with something deadly. The truth was, she could no longer bear the loneliness and pain of her existence. Her father's hatred, her classmates' contempt, her teachers' coldness, it had all become too much to carry, so she chose to end it. When Erin collapsed, I rushed to her side and tried CPR, tried to breathe life back into her, but it was too late. Minutes was a promise I knew I couldn't keep, one I didn't even believe myself, but I said it anyway, over and over again. Erin's death taught me something. It's impossible to go through life without hurting others. Sometimes even pushing someone away is a form of harm. My whole life, I tried to rise above it all, above desire, above attachment, above emotion, but I failed. Only Erin achieved true transcendence. In the end, I went to the youth center to find Erica. When she saw me, her eyes lit up like an angel's. She ran to me. I didn't push her away. Later, I returned to that troubled school. I wanted to keep using whatever little strength I had to save those struggling kids. My only regret is that Erin, the girl who used to sit quietly in the corner, lost in her drawings, was beyond saving now.